So gray blending could go horribly wrong at home. But if you follow these easy tips and hacks, you can get beautiful salon color results at home. So gray coverage is completely different than any other color because you're essentially dealing with a starting point of two complete opposites. You have gray that's basically a level 12 on the color scale, and you have your natural color that for most people falls under a level 5. So that's a 5-level difference of discrepancy that you're trying to tackle with one color. So the two and probably most common ways to either cover or blend gray is to either go in with a permanent color and just completely cover the gray, or you can go in with the demi-permanent color and simply stain the gray. This isn't going to do much to your pigmented or your like brown hair areas. It's really just going to add more of a veil or stain of color to the gray. This option is great if you're not really looking to lift your natural color and you're simply just trying to add a little bit of pigment to your gray. So those are the two most common ways to cover or blend gray. I've made the switch to something that is much closer to my natural color. I can now get away with just gray blending at the root. For my formulation, I'm going to be going in with L'Oreal's Dialite in level 7. I do leave this on about 35 to 40 minutes. If you have kind of more stubborn gray areas, this is a good idea to let it process a little bit longer. Another trick that I have, especially if you're doing gray blending and not full gray coverage, is to only apply this formula to where you have like a higher concentration of grays. So for me, it's this corner here. So instead of having to do the entire head, because when you do use a permanent color, there is a significant lift in the hair and it would be very obvious if you've missed a spot. Whereas with gray blending with a demi or semi-permanent color, it's a lot more lenient and a lot kind of softer coverage. So you can apply it just to those areas. Now let's talk color fading on gray coverage. This is probably one of the biggest questions and biggest issues I deal with. Which, hi, if you have a personal hair issue that you would like to talk to me about, I do offer virtual consultations. There's always information on how to book that in the description. So what is the main thing that keeps color adhering to your hair? It is hair hydration. Think of every color saving product on the market, especially like shampoos and conditioners. They're all about hydration. There's no special ingredient or molecule in there that's going to trap the color. The difference between a color saving shampoo, it's only its effectiveness of hydration. That's kind of the only difference. Also, gray hair has a completely different texture to your natural hair texture. As you've probably noticed, it's much more wiry. It almost feels coarser than the rest of your hair. It also kind of like springs up. So even when you're coloring, it's very normal for that gray hair to shoot up and not actually get saturated by the color. So a huge must once you have gray is to keep your hair really hydrated. I truly feel like it's the art we've all completely forgot about. We've all just rely on bond repairs and things that are like far more extreme that your hair doesn't actually need that often. And we've forgotten our most basic, most available thing that we have, and that is to hydrate our hair, which is why I created our essential drops. Even with having obviously the highest concentration of gray now than I've obviously ever had. And even though I have previous processing, highlighting, my hair truly has never felt this healthy. And that's because I've really focused on the hydration of my hair in the last 2 years. And you're probably thinking, yes, I apply my favorite Orbe or Kerastase finishing oil on my mid lengths and ends. Unless it's a natural oil, which Kerastase, Orbe, all those fun finishing oils, they're more like a seal and a coat on the hair, and they don't actually have real nutrients from real oils. They will have actives to try and fortify the hair, but again, they typically contain alcohols, which actually are making your hair drier and in worse condition over time. So if you were to use that once, twice a week over 30 to 60 days, your hair would actually be in worse condition after those 2 months than when you started. But when you apply the coating, it feels really nice. And so it gives you this false sense of this is working. And so in 2 months, when your hair is drier and less pigmented, you're almost more addicted to using more and more of the product. Not essential drops. This is just pure hydration and pure clean oils, but it was specially formulated to absorb quickly into the hair. So if you just go to a natural health food store and get, pure argan oil or pure rosemary oil, yes, there's a lot of benefits to those ingredients, but they're not expertly blended and formulated to absorb nicely into the hair. And so if it doesn't absorb deep enough into the hair, it's not going to have all the benefits that it could have. Also, it's going to be a much greasier finish, which is then going to deter you from natural oils and make you think, I actually need that finishing oil by Kerastase or Oribe that just doesn't feel greasy, but it kind of gives me that hydration. It doesn't actually, anything that has silicones doesn't actually give you hydration, it just gives you a coating that makes you feel like the hair is hydrated when it isn't, in fact, hydrated. So how do you effectively hydrate your hair? If you have finer hair and you know that you can't take a finishing oil, or you've tried a lot of oils and it always feels kind of greasy, the best way is to apply some to the scalp, massage it in, and from there you're going to want to apply some to your mid lengths and ends and use it as a pre-shampoo treatment. If you do this just 2-3 times a week, your hair is going to be so much healthier, stronger, and shinier in about 30 days because even after you wash off the product, that product has seeped in deep enough to the hair and is still working for you, as opposed to something that just coated the hair that's actually making the hair worse over time. Now, once you've actually colored your hair, now you have color that you love, your grays are blended and colored and looks great, and you want to hang on to that color. Once again, one of the best things you can do for the hair once the hair is dry is to apply just a few drops. And again, when it's natural product, a little goes a very long way. So best is to apply a few drops to your palms, massage it into your palms, and only what's left do you then massage into your hair. Even that small amount is going to be such a huge help in your hair. Again, more so than any silicone product that you can apply onto your hair generously. Now here's some additional tips to get your color correct, but also make it last longer. Mixing your color ratio correctly. I can't stress this enough. Whether it's permanent or a demi-permanent, the ratios are so important. Especially if you keep getting red tones, it could be the wrong formula for you, but also it could be that you're maybe applying too much developer and therefore you're lifting way more than you need to. Next is when you're rinsing out that color, or even the next time that you wash your hair after you've gotten your hair colored, is to go with as cold water as possible. Hot water opens up the hair, making it easier for that color to escape it. So cold water to seal the cuticle, hydration to fill in those gaps and almost create a shield from that color fading from your hair. Another huge robber of color is heat styling. And I notice this so much more now that I've gotten darker. When you're blonde and you're applying a ton of heat, your hair just kind of looks lighter and lighter. If you do too much heat, the blonde also kind of starts to kind of look more yellow as opposed to that bright buttery blonde. But on color pigmented hair, hot tools really lift that color off of your hair shaft, unfortunately. Now, this doesn't mean don't heat style at all. Just be way more mindful. Keep heat settings to as low as possible. This is something that I feel the average person doesn't really check. They just turn on the machine, put it on the highest setting, and that's what the tool remembers, and that's kind of what you operate on. Higher heat doesn't mean more styling power. If you've ever curled your hair, especially in a situation where it's not looking right and you go over the same area and the same area and you're do it 4 or 5 times and it looks worse and worse and worse to the point that then that section of hair is literally limp and doesn't curl, doesn't straighten, it doesn't do anything. If that's ever happened to you, this is the perfect example of what I'm trying to explain. The more heat you add to the hair actually becomes limp and kind of lifeless. It gives up. So there is a happy medium at the right temperature that is warm enough to seal in that curl or that shape that you're looking to achieve. But too much heat actually works against the result you're after and super bad on your hair. So next time you go to heat style your hair, try 1 notch down. If it's your blow dryer, use the medium setting. If it's your curling iron, flat ironing tools, at least below 400 degrees. I would say 350 is more than plenty, but just try that and see how well your style actually lasts not just like 5 minutes after you style it, but like how does it last throughout the day. I can almost guarantee that the curls and the waves will last longer because you didn't scorch and shock the hair with heat. The next common mistake I see with gray coverage is to overlap the existing color. And sometimes this is done because you see a little bit of gray over that previous area that you've already colored. But what ends up happening is, yes, you're slightly covering those grays again, but now you're double processing your pigmented, your natural hair color. That can create a banding because now the new roots that you just colored have one processing of color, but the next band has two. So it's much more common now for that area to be a lot redder or have a lot more orangey tones. So if you can avoid overlapping, that would be ideal. And the next tip would be to wait at least 48 hours after you've colored and rinsed the color off of your hair to wash your hair again. After the hair has been open to receive that color, you want to give it enough time for it to fully seal back up so that it holds on to that color. So if you're washing your hair the next day when the hair was still slightly open, you're going to lose a good 15 to 20% of that pigmentation. And therefore, you're going to start seeing those grays come back a lot sooner. So good deep conditioning treatments, especially that week following your color, but there's absolutely nothing that can be as hydrating on your hair as a good natural oil and keeping that color from fading. So here are my final results after blending my gray with a demi-permanent color. As you can see, some of the gray is still visible, but to me this looks really natural, and it just means that I'm going to experience a lot less red tones as I wash this color. So I'll be left with more consistent color throughout the next couple of weeks. And I hope that's answered all of your gray coloring blending questions. If you still have any, leave them down below. And to everyone that's ordered our Oil and Comb Essential Drops, it means the absolute world to hear your feedback and to hear that you're absolutely loving the product. And it just makes me so happy that something that I've created is now healing and nourishing and giving your hair the biggest hug that I wish I could give you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.